ביאור משנה ו' שחט ישראל, if Israel slaughtered את קורבן הפסח, אם רצה לשחוט, if he wanted to slaughter, he would slaughter, שהשחיטה כשרה גם בישראל בכל הקורבנות. That the shchita itself is not part of the work. Part of the work is, we said what it is. It's receiving the blood, the walking of the blood, and the sprinkling of the blood. What?
That's why I said the kol korban.
Not only in this one, in every korban. Also your sin offering, your shlamim offering, every offering. Practically, I don't think they did it. But it's kosher. Yeah, I'll tell you another thing that's kosher. Every Jew is allowed to light the menorah. The menorah of the temple, every Jew is allowed to light it. Yeah? I don't think so. Because it happened to be that the high priest all the time used to do it, but it says that the job of the high priest was only lehativ et hanerot, only to prepare it. But anyone, he could light it. But I don't think the high priest would take it outside for somebody to light and then put it back inside. It doesn't make sense to me. So it happened to be that the high priest did it. But a Jew is allowed to, I think, technically. I think over here it's also technically. I don't think practically a lot of Jews did slaughter. I don't think it was a practical, I think it was more technical. That if a Jew did slaughter, then it's good because it's not part of the service. It doesn't make it possible. It's not. V'kibel HaKohen. But immediately after the Jews slaughtered, the Jew cannot receive the blood because that's the job of the Kohanim. V'kibel HaKohen et Adam, and the Kohen received the blood. Min atzavar bevezach, he held it from the neck. He took the blood into this cup that we discussed before. Sheken mikabalat adam ve'ilach hamitzvah b'kohen. Because this point onwards, this is the job of the Kohen. For shchita, it can be done by a Jew, any Israel. But from that on, it has to be only by a Kohen. And then what will he do? Notno lechavero. He would not. Chavero means another Kohen. Another Kohen, yeah. Notno lechavero. He will give it to his friend. והמקבל את הדם נותן את הבזח לחברו העומד על ידו בשורה. And he would give it to this guy who's next to him in a line, like an assembly line. וחברו לחברו, and this guy will give it to the next guy. כדי שיתעסקו רבים במצווה, because you want as many people to have a cover, to do this commandment. לקיים, to do the commandment, ברוב עם הדרת מלך. That when you have a lot of nation, a lot of people coming, this is a glory to the king. עד שמגיע לכהן העמוד סמוך למזבח. So it will travel like this until it will get to the Kohen that stands next to the altar. והוא זורקו על המזבח. And he will take the blood and he will sprinkle it on the altar. הוא מקבל את המלא, and then he would receive the full one, ושוב מקבל הוא בזח אחר, מלך מידו חברו הסמוך לו. So the last one will sprinkle and will pass it back immediately, the empty one. So it will go up and down. No, it's the same line.
The same coin?
The same line. It was the same line going up and down.
You give him the full and then you give him back and you give it to his friend and his friend.
And that goes back now this way.
And how they wash it? They need to wash it, no?
No washing. There's no time to wash. Boom, 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 going back and forth. And there's not just there's not just one cup. It's going back and forth. There's like 30 cups going back and forth all the time. You know, in and out, in and out. הוא מחזיר את הריקן. אם הבזח הריקן המוחזר מן הכהן, so he returns the empty one. You can imagine thousands of sheep who are getting slaughtered over there. And you've been to Israel, yeah? Everywhere in Israel, flies are all over. Imagine one of those miracles. There's never been a fly on the Temple Mount. Never been. Throughout this process, this whole thing is taking place. And if you go out of the outside, there's flies all over the place. It was like they couldn't go in. Yeah. Yeah, but when it says lo yisriach, I'm not sure what the definition. We need to learn what it is. It can be two things. It can be you couldn't smell it, or it can be it didn't become rotten. Or it didn't become rotten. I'm not sure which one it is. Yeah?
Because Moshe Omer, if you do something like that, it's hard to...
Yeah.
The smell is terrible.
It's possible that it wasn't even smell. But we will get to that when we get to Korbanot. We'll see that. ומחזיר את הריקן, and he will return the empty one. את הבזח הריקן המוחזר מן הכהן הזורק, the empty vessel who returns from the coin that throws into the altar, לאחר שזרק את דמו, after he threw away the blood. וכן תמיד מקבל ותחילה בזח מלא, ואחר כך מחזירו את הריקן. And if it comes, for example, you're standing in the middle of the line, and a full one comes and an empty one comes back, and you're in the middle, and this guy gives you a full one, and this one gives you an empty one, what do? So he says you first take the full one, transfer it, and then you take back the empty one. In other words, the right hand, you know which one. The right one is over dominant because it comes from the full one, and the left one, after you've transferred this one, then you bring this one. I don't know. Whichever way you stand. If you stand this way or you stand this way, I don't know. Yeah, but whichever way.
But a Kohen, he give you only the empty one there.
What do you mean? The all Kohanim? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you will know one hand is going to be first. If both hands are coming the first time, you say no, this hand first, and then you bring this one. ולא להפך, and not the opposite. Why? לפי שאין מעבירים על המצוות. Because this is a commandment, and this is not a commandment. It's a commandment to take this blood and spill it, and this one is not a commandment, because you're just retaining it to reuse it. כלומר, שקבלת הבזח המלא מצווה היא, that receiving the full cup is a commandment, ואילו החזקת הריקן אינה מצווה, אלא תשמישי מצווה, and the return is not a mitzvah. It is a preparation for the mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah in itself. ולכן אין להשהות את קבלת הבזח המלא מפני החזרת הריקן. Therefore, the full one overrides the empty one. כהן הקרוב אצל המזבח, the Kohen that's standing right next to the altar, זורקו זריקה אחת. He throws it one time. מתוך הבזח עצמו. From the cup itself. And this is a difference between Korban Pesach from all the other sacrifices. We didn't learn Korbanot yet, but when we're going to learn the Korbanot, you're going to see that the other Korbanot, the Kohen would dip his hand in the blood and he will splash it with his finger. Over here, there's no dipping of your hand. The cup itself you throw. Yeah, you throw the cup itself. That's the difference between Pesach and all the other sacrifices. מתוך הבזח עצמו, he throws it from the cup himself, שאין קורבן הטעון מתן אדם באצבע אלא חטאת בלבד. Oh, I was wrong. It's only sin offering that has with the finger. The other ones are also not with the finger. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, שהכהן הסמוך למזבח היה רחוק מעט מן המזבח. It says that the Kohen who stood next to the altar stood like one step or two steps away from the altar. Why? כדי שילך 2-3 פסיעות עד למזבח, because he wanted two commandments, the commandment of walking it and the commandment of throwing it. So he would give himself like 1 or 2 steps so he can do both commandments. ויקיים מצוות הולכת הדם, so he can also do the commandment of walking the blood. שהיא אחד מ4 עבודות הקורבן. This is one of the 4 services of the sacrifice. והוא זורק את הדם כנגד היסוד. And he throws the blood against the base of the altar. בצידי המזבח, on the sides of the altar, שהיה יסוד תחתיהם, that the יסוד was underneath them. שכן בליטת היסוד לא הייתה מקיפה את כל צדדי המזבח. It's because the base was not around the entire altar. אלא הייתה נמשכת על פני צד המערב וצד צפון. It used to go on the west and on the north. וממערב הייתה נכנסת אמה אחת לצד דרום, and from the west, there was a ramp up from the west. So the ramp was instead of the side. So it went in one אמה from the north side, וכן from the south side, וכן מצפון אמה אחת לצד מזרח. And also from the south, it went in like there was a step on the altar. There was like a small altar on top of the big altar, if you think about it. Yeah, but it's only one amma difference. So it was just a small step and then continued. לפיכך באה המשנה להשמיענו, therefore the Mishnah comes to teach us שהזריקה היא כנגד היסוד. You wanted it from the side that there was no step, from the side that was completely up, because on two sides there was a small step. They want to tell you, don't throw it against the step. Or the opposite, or do throw it against the step. I don't know what the yesod is. Either the yesod is where the step is, or the yesod is where the step is not. But in one of them, if we're going to look at the drawings, we're going to know. I don't remember the drawing itself. It's the one that there is a step. That's the yesod.